Hey, you. Yeah, you. Sitting in your chair right now watching this video, questioning what series of events led you to this. You know what ghosts are, right? Okay, good. Otherwise I'd be sitting here explaining it to you like I'm your father or something, and that would be awkward for both of us. Anyway, today you and I are going to be watching some scary videos. Some real spooky clips. The kind of videos that'll make you want to close that other tab in your web browser that you have open right now from last night's solo session. I mean, the tab that this video is playing in. After all, why would you have any other tabs open right now? Without further ado, let's get into some spooky clips. In this first clip, we see what appears to be two dogs playing. However, if you take a closer look at the white dog, its movement appears to be very asymmetric, and it almost looks as if it's appearing and disappearing at will. This, of course, could be explained by the poor quality of the recording, but watch this clip and judge for yourself what you think this thing really is. This next clip shows a hotel during the dead hours of the night, but something isn't quite right here. A particular room in this inn has been the source of quite the ruckus, and in response police were called to come and investigate. Check it out and see if you can spot what's causing so much trouble. In this next clip, we see the inside of some building, presumably a school. No one is present on site, as it's the dead hours of the night. However, not long after this clip begins, objects start to move seemingly on their own. Watch for yourself and see what you think is happening. Here we can see what looks to be someone's backyard at night. At first, all seems as it should, but abruptly a herd of something emerges from the right side of the screen and runs off to the left. It's difficult to tell what exactly these are. It could simply just be some deer crossing, or maybe some teenagers getting into trouble. But if it isn't anything of this earth, it may just be paranormal. What looks to be just two guys peacefully sleeping in their shared dorm room quickly becomes a living nightmare. At first, the door opens of its own volition, and then whatever entity entered the room decides to have fun by moving more than just inanimate objects. Take a look. In a parking lot at around 2:30 in the morning, a car drives by the camera. Out of complete nowhere, a shadowy figure appears directly in front of the car and consequently gets hit by it. In response, the driver slams the brakes and proceeds to get out, thinking he may have actually hit someone. This confirms that even in person the entity was still visible and not just on camera. The part that I find the most interesting is that this may be an example of something called a residual haunting, and if true, it means that whoever this ghost is tragically passed away from an automobile accident. This next clip takes us to someone's driveway, where we see three vehicles, a dumpster, and some various yard decorations. However, the dumpster seems to have taken matters into its own hands and wants to be out of the picture. Literally. Take a look and discern for yourself. In this clip, we see a man at what appears to be a gas station grabbing something from out of the refrigerated section. Almost immediately, he begins making bizarre movements and acting as though he's under the influence of some illicit substance. But when you get to the end of the clip, that theory gets flipped on its head, as a ghostly figure can be seen in the reflection of the door, and just seconds later, some stock from a nearby shelf is violently thrown onto the floor. So what do you think? Possession, or just under the influence? In a building that looks to be some kind of a store, perhaps a Target going based off of a shopping cart, we see some unusual activity cropping up. Though everyone has left for the night, it seems this shopping cart in particular has some unfinished shopping it would like to get done. Take a look and see for yourself. At first, all seems to be normal in this restaurant, but sometimes the place where everything seems as it should is actually the one with the most anomalies. We see people seated at different tables, but when the woman by herself gets up and walks over to the bar, her place decides to put on a little show of its own. Have a look. Well, those were some pretty spooky videos, weren't they? Be honest, how many times did you get spooked? Once? Twice? 20 times? Wait, why do I have 4 hands? It's okay if you did. What's that? Did I get scared during this video? Nonsense. Of course I didn't. Oh, look, a squirrel.